Peace, fam. How's it going? I am getting ready to get started on this live, kicking off our very first annual Black Co-op Week. Repping hard. So we're so excited. Yesterday we got an opportunity to go to a Coma market at the Black Cultural Zone. And today we're having an opportunity to have the very own Ayano come through. I'm about to put you in live in just 1 second, sis. Thank you so much for being here. So just wanted to give you guys a little briefing for those that are unaware of Repaired Nations. Repaired Nations is a vision that started about 1.5 to 2 years ago. And it was an idea of how to build solidarity economies and opportunities to practice Pan-African solidarity across the waters from Oakland and throughout the diaspora to Ghana. And I just learned this week, I've been learning so much, is that it was initially supposed to be somewhere else in Africa. And because the year of return happens, it just became a great opportunity for folks who have never been to the continent to make it to there for the first time and to enter through Ghana. So myself and Aya had the opportunity to go. And we've been, doing this cooperative work in different spaces and places. And this week, on this beautiful Movement Monday, Black Co-op Week kickoff, we're going to be highlighting all of these different organizations between our Instagram page and Facebook, as well as Zoom, Facebook via Zoom. And we're going to be talking about the work that folks are doing on the ground. How do we build a solidarity economy? How do we build economic justice across the board when it comes to our people? So that's what we're going to be talking about. And I'm about to call you, Aya, in just 1 second. Let me see if actually I can. I always mess up and pin late, but I'm going to pin part of this conversation in just a second as soon as I call you, Aya.
Hey.
Peace, how are you?
Doing well. It's good to see your face.
Same to you. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to pin this conversation and then we're going to go ahead and get started.
No problem.
Okay. And hashtag Black Co-op Week. All right. And let me pin it. Yay! I learned how to do that recently.
Yay!
So yes, welcome. Aya, how are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. I'm glad it's warm and sunny today. So I've been trying to spend as much time in the sun during all this. A lot of the energy is moving this week.
That was actually my first question, was just so really quickly, Aya works with Black Cultural Zone. She's done so many different projects and has been researching and studying cooperatives for a few years now. Worked for A&B, land-based work and projects, working with the youth, but specifically kind of based in East Oakland for a minute. So being able to see some of the goings-ons in the community, and you live in East Oakland. So, but I did want to start with just seeing, like, how are you fortifying during this time? Because even though we're, really celebrating our cooperative movement, the base of that is our folks, our people. And so it's just really important to check in. And, every time I get an opportunity to share how it is that people are getting through it, I feel like it's an opportunity to help folks. So how are you fortifying during, this economic, health, and political pandemic?
Yeah, thank you so much for checking in. So I've been, like you said, I've done a lot of land work. I've done a lot of co-op work. So for me, healing is going to the water, putting my hands to the soil. So I've been really trying to be more intentional about getting outside, especially since all this screen time, needing to balance it out with some green time. So it gives me an excuse to take my dog out and all that. But really, I've been cooking a lot. Cooking is my therapy. That is my, like, it's direct work with my ancestors. It's direct work with my lineage. And that is so important, especially right now. And then nourishing my body, nourishing other folks. That's where my heart work is. So I've been doing a lot of cooking, a lot of land work, and I'm really checking in with folks, like calling my mom every day, making sure to remind her to drink water and take breaks. And so, like you said, making sure that like my community is well fortified as well.
Nice.
How about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I've actually been able to do a lot of those same things. You know, it's interesting that while there's so much happening in our community and, you know, towards our community, that there's still this very beautiful healing that's going on simultaneously. And so many people, especially like during the heavier times of shelter in place, have just been talking about like spending more time in nature, spending more time with their, you know, children or their families or their loved ones.
Right.
And it's just, you know, having that pause while on one side there's, you know, a lot of people that are going through some of the hardest times that they've ever potentially endured in their lifetime, emotionally, financially, politically, on a day-to-day. It's still all these folks that are like, every day I get report backs, like I'm working out, I'm going on walks, you know, I'm eating better, I'm drinking water. So those stories, as in addition to my own state, is really fortifying for me. Yeah. And
yeah, sometimes we don't realize, you know, we need to put more intention towards ourselves until, you know, we're like, why are my lips so dry? Why am I so tired and it's only noon, right? So yeah, that radical like care, that radical love is so important now more so than ever, for sure.
And I feel like that is what I saw when I went to a coma yesterday. Like, we rode up there, obviously stopped at, you know, got a shot out, authentic African.
Shout out Mama Mia.
You know, me and Greg came through all swagged out. Well, he was more swaggy than me, you know. But you know, you have the home field advantage.
Right. The brand is strong. Shout out to Mama Mia and Shayara.
Yes.
And all the ladies putting their hands to work for us and our beautiful, beautiful stuff.
So I just, you know, one of the things that I really noticed is that, similar to how we're talking about fortification, the Acoma Marketplace every first Sunday, as well as just the entire Black Cultural Zone, is there to fortify our communities, to offer us the support that we need. The sister got on yesterday when we went live and was saying how much more has been done during the pandemic because the need is there. So I just wanted to, you know, get a sense from you, if you could talk a little bit about what's happening there and so, the role that you're playing in making some of those things happen.
Sure. Yeah. So just a little bit about the Black Cultural Zone. I'll do a little spiel. So we were founded in 2014. It's sort of like this collaborative, this collective of businesses, organizations, individuals out in East Oakland that, you know, have been impacted by all these barriers and disparities within the Black community. And so coming together to center Black arts and culture, but also provide pathways for reactivation and empowerment. And so we have three sort of main pillars. That's placekeeping, strong economy, and quality of life. And woven throughout those three pillars are the arts and culture, because at the end of the day, please forgive the background noise. At the end of the day, you know, our creatives, our artists are the activators for the visions that we want to see. You know, they carry it out. And so that is an important element that's woven through. But in terms of placekeeping and strong economy, quality of life, it's really giving us a chance to take ownership or retake ownership of ourselves and our community. And for East Oakland, it's often referred to as sort of like the last frontier, right? A lot of the Black community that are legacy to Oakland have been pushed from the West all the way to the east, and now with
From the
rapid
north too.
gentrification, the northwest, and so now we're seeing like us even getting pushed out of Oakland itself. So,
Right.
but the Black Cultural Zone works between High Street and the border of San Leandro to do cultural revitalization, and part of the the foundation is like I said, ownership. So placekeeping, making sure we have land and buildings in ownership, and that stay in ownership sustainably
So you all
throughout.
own that lot? What's the situation with that lot and the Black Cultural Zone? And maybe also, and the lot that I'm talking
Yeah,
about is on 73rd and
yeah,
Foothill, right? I'm just telling folks, right
for
there.
sure.
And, Eastmont, it's that corner lot. And so if you haven't been to East Oakland for some time, you'll see
Hmm.
something's going on there. And it's the Black Cultural Zone. So can you talk about like where y'all at with that land?
Yeah, so right now we're leasing it. It's owned by the city of Oakland, but this is our first sort of community activation to work towards our first commercial property. So this is like the first opportunity the Black Cultural Zone has to actually buy land and hold it, for folks to develop what the community would like to see there. And right, like you said, it's on the corner of 73rd and Foothill, and right in front of Eastmont, along the business corridor, right across from Roots community. So really creating like a hub center as well. Yeah, thank you, Mama Mia. Right behind the McDonald's, and it has been empty for a really long time, and so this is a beautiful opportunity to be able to activate it. So we've been doing food distribution. So once COVID started, we've, like everybody else, we had to pivot sort of what we had planned. And so of course, like you mentioned earlier, sis, like a lot of us kind of doing this work, kind of organizing, feeding and nourishing our people, we're bumped up from essential to even more essential. And so the Black Cultural Zone has been doing food distribution 3 times a week. It's now twice a week. And then we've also been doing the Como Market, like you said, and that's prioritizing our Black businesses and makers and farmers to come in and have a space to sell their goods, but to also like build their brand up too. We have, going back to the pillars, we have a strong economy work group. And within that work group, we're kind of creating like this technical assistance cohort within the BCZ so that we can sort of go, help to break down the barriers that are clearly put in front of our folks to
Right.
create thriving economies, to create social capital, and then to keep those dollars circulating within the community. So Okoma's really, really, it's really exciting to see that happen, because we're trying to not only create a physical space and activate that, but we're trying to also go deeper into the different systems that we all know so well have been put up to keep us down.
Yeah. And it's I wanted to talk a little bit about the, some of the cooperative principles, but what you're speaking on now is reminding me of just going in that space and coming there, how much it reminded me of the African marketplaces that we've experienced and how much influence those have. So we're going to get back to that and talk a little bit more. We'll talk about Ghana before it's all done. But yeah, I know that you have a lot of experience and have been researching cooperatives for some time. So my question is, what made you passionate about that? And what are some of the takeaways as far as the principles and practices that you're bringing with you into the Black Cultural Zone?
Yeah, good question. Thank you. Yeah, I think that, so I've been sort of a part of this co-op world for a few years now, but throughout my journey and learning about cooperative history, but also finding my own path in cooperatives, I think a lot of us can agree within this world that I've been sort of living cooperatively and within community since I was born, whether it was slapped on with a cooperative or collective or not. I was born and raised in Hawaii in a small town. And so everybody knows everybody. Everybody's auntie, uncle, cousin. And that upbringing, realize now that I'm older in life had really created that foundation for community. And that goes beyond just my immediate family, that goes beyond just my immediate circles, and really understanding the levels of it takes a village, right? To be, a whole. And so coming up here, and then really getting deep into community organizing in the Bay. I claim that, and I was politicized in the Bay because, there's a lot of innovation happening. There's a lot of activation happening out here. And I think that one thing that's special, especially about Oakland and East Oakland, is that we're able to try things out, right? We're able to try out ideas or entrepreneurial sort of elements that we have and kind of put it to the test, right? And so I think that with that, we're allowed to try to change the systems in the way that we would like to see them changed, and that's from the ground up, from the bottom up, from community-led development projects. And so that was sort of my intro into cooperative work, but it all came back to community. It all came back to, we need each other to thrive. We need each other to take care of each other. And then and then Greg, Brother Greg, he brought some listening sessions out to East Oakland as I was sort of getting to know it, and started putting the structure and the framework to, the rhyme and reason of what we've been reading. And then, of course, I keep Collective Courage on my desk at all times, but once once I found this book and once I was introduced to Collective Courage, that was it.
It's a wrap.
From there, that was a wrap. Yeah, Dr. Gordon Nemhart really changed my view on what cooperativism is, especially within Black history in America, and now that it's my scope has been opened up internationally, you can see clearly the interweavings of why this is, well, to me, this is why we're going to take over the world cooperatively.
Right. And so tell me, from your study, the learning, and the conference last year, what have been some of your greatest takeaways? What has gone into, from the theory into your heart? This is my foundation. This is how I'm practicing this work. Again, obviously you're doing work with Black Cultural Zone, but you're going to take this work everywhere you go. So if you can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. So the end of last year, I was actually brought onto a contract to project manage a grocery cooperative incubation out here in East Oakland. And that was really my first dive into organizing cooperatively. And I think that one of the things that there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of reading you can do, you can listen to lectures, but when you're in it, it's a lifestyle shift. And I really think that with with education, but also intentionality and trying to, shout out to the Deep Co-op that's in the comments. I see y'all out there. Check them out. Hit them up on IG. But it really shows that we want to take care of each other. We want to engage in this type of work with each other, but we've been generationally so programmed not to. So programmed to be stuck in sort of this individual frame of mind. And what I found interesting is that I never really had a reference point still to kind of go off of in what this looks like successfully and authentically, right? Because there's been historically, again, tapping the collective courage, there is, it's been historically dismantled throughout time. So I think that that's one really special thing about this work, but also can be very intimidating for folks that may be new to cooperative theory or collective theory. And, kind of, it's that unlearning process, that decolonizing process that we really have to go through to get to the meat and bones of it all.
Right.
And I think that that's the piece that takes time. It takes time and it takes patience. But once you successfully jump over that first hurdle, it's smooth sailing from there. So I think that that's one special thing that I found to be a skill set of mine, is to be able to sort of create that space for learning, but also vulnerability, right? Like, we are human, especially right now. The world is on fire. This is not a normal time. We don't have to keep pretending that it's normal. But with that, we're able to sort of engage in these new systems that may not be so familiar, but to really create those shifts in that transformation that we've been longing for so long.
Yeah.
I hope that answered your
Yeah, it
question.
did. And I think one thing that really stuck with me is you talked about a lifestyle. Like, it's a lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle shift, and it's so many different things. I see so many folks on here, and I just feel like that principle, cooperative, supporting other cooperatives. It's so many principles and practices that folks that are in this work begin to live by, and just like begin to think differently through. So that's one thing that I was just like looking at. It's like, absolutely. My other question for you is just sort of, right. So we went to Ghana.
Yeah.
It was your first time too, right?
It was, yeah.
Was it your first time on the continent?
It was my first time on the continent, yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I just want to talk a little bit to bring it home, because this is sort of the Pan-African solidarity kind of piece of the conversation. What were the similarities that you kind of noticed, or what was kind of like surprisingly familiar about Ghana, in comparison specifically to Oakland, because I feel like there's this interesting kind of connection with how like we do things,
For sure. There's like, Oakland is small. I think that's why I feel so at home here, because it feels like an island. Everybody knows everybody. And it's similar to in Ghana. It was like another form of home. And I think that was sort of like the resonating energy of as soon as we got off the plane. And it was this like unspoken love, unspoken comfort, unspoken warmth that I definitely, it transcended for me throughout the trip, throughout all the different things that we did, because the conference was a big part of it, but we also wanted to make sure to experience where we were with the people, right? And I think that that's like something that Oakland offers too, right? That authentic, like, come and kick it with me and my family, like your family too. And that's how that's how it was in Hawaii during my upbringing. That's how it is out here in Oakland, especially once you get into different communities. And then in Ghana, I felt like we were able to open up a lot of conversations that could have been really difficult to have, I think, if it was a different group of people. But for us to understand as family, each other.
Yeah.
And that was really moving to me. That was really that was the most powerful takeaway for me from the conference, were those connections, and were those breakthrough moments, right? Because there were some times where just kind of butting heads, like, nah, but you all got to understand how it is out here, and vice versa. But there were those moments where it's just like, oh, I remember when brother got up on the mic, I think it was the last day, and we kept going around in circles around like, what is the Black experience in America versus in Africa, and really trying to understand that for each other. And one of the brothers from Ghana got up on the mic, and he was just like, so it sounds like y'all in the States have money but no land, and we here in Ghana, we got land but no money. And then like the whole room was just like, oh, that's what it is. That's where the exchange needs to happen. It was those moments where it's just like, yeah, like it's like I said, it's like first hurdle, right? And then we can keep moving, and then we keep building from there. So that was really special to me. The food was
Mm.
awesome. I I was having the time of my life, just trying all these new foods. I'm such a food person. Um, and the markets, like you said, it was, although it was a very interesting experience, you know, in terms of people coming and approaching you off the bus at some points, I think like just seeing, like you mentioned, like it was kind of similar to Como, where people are, you know, there's music playing, like kids are running around, you know, it's sort of like this open, um, you know, everybody kind of opened their doors to
Yeah,
sell
it's
their goods,
it's
right?
community in a way that you really
Mm-hmm.
like. We went to the mall, like that was like the last thing we did, and it was like,
Right.
oh yeah, this is what, you know, Western kind of society is like in that sense. But when you go into a Black community, whether it's here in LA, New York, Atlanta, New Orleans, you know, I saw Bahia's out here. I've been to Bahia.
Right.
Shout outs to Bahia.
Hey.
Anywhere that we aren't gonna separate our
Mm-mm.
family from our work. You know,
Right.
it's this continuity that we got to see there. It was like children were playing behind. It was like, oh, something going on. People's uncles, people, you know, it was like a
Yeah.
competition, but it, you know, due to the need to kind of, you know, make ends meet. So that's there too. But there was so much continuity and harmony. You saw, oh, I don't have this. My brother has that. I don't have this. Let me bring you around. They're the ones with that fabric. You know what? I don't
Right.
have this fabric, but they have that picture. Let me show you this. Let me show you that. And one thing that
Exactly.
you know about Oakland is that for people that are from here or connected to the flow, we know someone for that. We know someone. Oh, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I have a cousin. I have someone. I'll hook you up. You know, oh, it's not. Don't even worry. Don't
Exactly.
even worry. You know, like
Exactly.
operating from that heart space is really where it came down to. Like I saw, it's like, wow, we are so tied to Ghana in a way that I would, in West Africa, and that culture in a way that I've
Right.
heard about, I've read about, I've read people's work about
Mm.
the phenotype and our culture, but it's something that truly didn't get to be experienced until you were like in it.
Right.
And I was just like, that's me when I grew up at the flea market. My parents sold at the flea
Mm.
market. And so that's like, I grew up there. Like that's what
Right.
I know. And so I saw myself in that space. And I think with
Mm.
Black Co-op Week and with the conference, we were really hoping that we could go to Ghana again and bring an even larger group. The pandemic happened, but I think what we've been able to experience is an ability through the technology, which everyone does not have access to, but
Right.
people have access to it more than they do thousands of dollars to travel, you know, or hundreds of dollars to travel. And so we're really hoping to extend and pass on some of these experiences to folks online throughout this week and in our conference. We have phenomenal speakers. We have phenomenal presenters, cultural presenters. And I think that was the other thing that was so important in the conference for us. It was like, it was the cultural pieces. It was like, okay, we have this agenda,
Yes.
but the folks in Ghana let us know, oh, when we have lunch, we're going to dance, we're going to play music, we're going to break. We're not just made to sit down and chill, you know, or not chill, but sit down and like listen to lectures all day long without seeing the
Right.
sun. Like, who does that? So for
Right.
us, it was important in the way that we
Right.
structured the conference. Like, we're gonna need some music. We're gonna need, you know, some pods,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk a little bit more about the pod experience later. But I'm just so excited to have you and to be able to highlight our folks that are doing this work and taking on cooperative economics, Pan-African solidarity, and doing stuff on the ground.
Mm.
So I just want to give you a chance to shout out how we can support.
Uh-oh. Thank you. Can you hear
Did I
me?
cut
I
out?
think I cut out for a second.
Yeah, you just cut back in. Did you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I heard you. Thank you. Thank you, Kana. And thank you for thank you again, Kana, Greg, Repaired Nations for allowing me space and Black Co-op Week. These conversations are so important. So, so shouting out at Cultural Zone, check us out on Instagram and Facebook. We're gonna be having another Acoma market on December 6th. So that's the first Sunday of December, and then again on the first Sunday of January. But definitely stay tapped in on social media because we're gonna be planning some other community events in between. And overall, like really get to know, if especially if you're out here in Oakland, come and say hi, get to know the Black Cultural Zone. We're not exclusive to East Oakland. We're creating an ecosystem, and I think that that's one of the really important things. Like you said, like arts and culture is so important, and we want to uplift just everything that our people have to offer. If you're an educator, even young, definitely tap in with the Black Cultural Zone. Tap in with the Deep Grocery Cooperative. So they just released an announcement, I think like last month, that they'll be getting ready to do some new programming. So definitely check them out on Instagram. And those are rooted legacy BIPOC East Oakland residents that are up from the ground up for their people, right? So there's a lot of cool projects going on. And of course, tap in with me. Feel free to DM me on IG. And I look forward to seeing how the rest of the conference goes. This has been amazing. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking like, man, I feel like all Black people are just artists. Like, I feel like I just want to say that. And it's like the proof was going there and experiencing. It's just like, yeah, I do this, I do that, but I'm also an artist, and this
Exactly.
is my art. So I feel like that's the same thing with the Black Cultural Zone. It's like, I might sell things, I might do poetry, I might do, I might be into politics or whatever I'm doing, but culture is going to be the grounding force. So we definitely salute you and appreciate everything that you all are doing out there and kind of keeping us grounded in who it is that we are. Because as soon as you touch down and you see those that code of righteousness, you're just like, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So.
Yep, we're here now.
Thank you so much. Just really quickly, for folks that are on here, appreciate you so much for joining us. We are going to have other interviews on Facebook as well as here. You can check out the flyers on the page or the story for Repair Nations. Tomorrow is going to be the official Repair Nations report back, where you get to see a slideshow, pictures, and information for what has happened, what was going on in Ghana. You'll see all kinds of probably amazing and beautiful and embarrassing pictures of us, and different spaces and places, and really understanding what has been going on with this organization, from the real estate project to Authentic African coming through, reporting back on a shipping co-op idea that was started to try to, get folks in Ghana access to shipping. So you'll hear about that and a whole lot more. So definitely join folks on Tuesday. On Wednesday is going to be myself and Michael at Mandela Grocery Co-op, and we're going to be doing a tour of the store and talking about self-care and wellness, and how even though this store is small, it is truly a gem in our community. If you are in Oakland, if you're in the Bay Area, even if you're not, once you see this store, you're going to say, I'm gonna need me one of those in my community. It's real, and it's so. Anyway, we'll talk about some of the products, and Michael is going to show us how to do a sea moss. So that's something that we can really use for our health and wellness during these times to help us fortify. And then on Thursday, we're going to have Honey Gold and Ajman talking to us again about culture. Resonate Co-op is going to be on there talking about cooperative that is going to be that's streaming and offering artists a platform. So we're really looking at one, and I heard in the Bay Area, where I saw an article, it was maybe over 10 years ago, but I don't know if it has changed. It said that the Bay Area has the most independent artists per capita than anywhere in the world. And I truly believe that. And so it's like, to think that all of, so many venues, so much sort of gig culture was put to a halt or had to go online and make that adjustment during the pandemic. There's so much of that story that's rich, and that story is going to be told, as well as an opportunity for networking and talking about resilience. And then we're kicking off the conference on Friday, so definitely stay on this page, stay on this channel, keep checking us out. Please like, share, and don't forget to register, because it's going to be off the chain. We have so many fire artists and presenters from Ghana to the Bay, Jackson, Mississippi to New York. So it's going to be off the hook. Let's see if there's any questions. Funding the artists from San Francisco Bluegrass Festival, I think. I don't know. Was that is that a question? I miss Oakland. I don't know, Colin Brazil. I don't know if that's a question or you're just making a statement. Funding. Oh, they're saying that there is funding available this Friday. This Friday, we're going to be doing our kickoff mixer. Conference starts this Friday. Yep. So we're going to be doing our kickoff mixer, and we're going to have artists and pods from different spaces and places kind of showing us similar. So if the Black Cultural Zone was a pod, Aya and a few others would be sort of on site showing us around their space. Sometimes we like to see each other like this, and sometimes we want to see land. We want to see the stuff. We want to see where it's going on. So our pods is that experience where we get to see folks in their communities doing the work. And yeah, they're going to be kind of having like a little party, get together, kick back, and chopping it up with us about their stuff. So join us, y'all. Let me see if there's any other questions for myself or Aya. Any questions about the Black Cultural Zone and what the work that's being done, or co-op questions? Feed the people of the
Don't be shy to tap in if things come up later too.
All right, y'all. Well, you have our
I know my dog is wilding right now. So.
Okay. we're gonna like, let's see.
He's like, Mommy, that's enough working now.
Right. I want some attention too.
Right.
Can we join Repair Nations as a Black co-op? So go ahead and DM what you mean by that. Are you looking to join as a presenter, or are you you can definitely attend as a participant and participate in all of the panel discussions and the open forums. But definitely DM what you mean, because we're trying to connect with Black co-ops. So yeah. All right, y'all. Love you. Take care. See you on the next one. Peace.
Peace out, y'all.